My dear sisters and brothers in Jesus Christ, as you know, every healing of Jesus is special. Every healing is special. And every healing is a miracle. But today, the healing today you find in the gospel passage especially, is extra special. Not simply special, it is extra special. If you really want to understand the meaning of the gospel passage today, you have to read the book of Leviticus. And the first reading today is taken from the book of Leviticus. And if you were really attentive, you will understand what this man was doing in the gospel passage, this particular leper. And if you notice, and you see here, this man, the so-called unnamed leper, was not asking for healing. Was he asking for healing? No, he was not asking for healing. He was simply asking Jesus to make him clean. And it was not simply asking, he was challenging Jesus. It was not a simple, humble request. It was indeed a humble prayer. And there is no doubt about it. But Jesus, this man, this leper, comes to Jesus and tells him, Jesus, if you can, or rather if you wish, you can heal me. He was challenging the authority of Jesus. Not heal, rather, you can make me clean. What do you mean by that? If you wish, you can make me clean. Not heal, clean. Dear friends in Jesus, several years ago, I met a woman with real leprosy, as you understand today, not the biblical leprosy. I met him in Polonnaruwa when I was working there, met her in Polonnaruwa when I was working there. I went to visit her. She was living in a small hut in a deserted place in the jungle. And I had to walk about 7 kilometers to meet her. And she shared with me an interesting story, very sad story. And she said that, well, Father, I contracted this leprosy, that is Hansen's disease, and when I was 17. And then I got married, and I had a child, a daughter. And after my daughter, and we taught her, we educated her. After she got married, my daughter got married, she did not want me at home. She wanted me to leave. And that is why I am living in the jungle today, the forest today, and in a secluded place. And what is worse is, Father, the worst thing is, Father, being rejected by my friends and family. And by my own daughter, being rejected. So, dear friends in Jesus, before you understand the gospel passage today, you need to understand the difference between clean and unclean, purity and impurity, according to the Bible, clean and unclean. And you need to understand this man's isolation and loss, humility and faith in Jesus. And according to the Jewish law, a man who is unclean, who is not clean, has to isolate himself. The society itself will isolate the man, and he will be considered as an outcast. So he was not supposed to come to Jesus. And here you see two disobedient Jews. Jesus was disobedient, and this leper was disobedient. They were not obeying Jewish laws. And they were, if you were attentive to the first reading today, my dear friends in Jesus, a man or woman who has leprosy, who has contracted leprosy, leprosy is used for any kind of skin disease in the Bible, dear friends in Jesus. Not the leprosy that we know today, any kind of skin disease. And if you have a disease like a skin disease, you are supposed to keep a certain distance. In the Jewish law, it is about 50 meters apart from another person, about 50 meters. And you see, what is interesting in the gospel passage here is this man, he kneels down at the feet of Jesus. How can it be? He was supposed to stand away from Jesus, 50 feet away. And he is supposed to shout, unclean, unclean, so that no one will approach him. But this man comes to Jesus and falls at his feet. So he breaks the law. A Jew breaking the law and Jesus. And there is another rule, another law in the Jewish culture, that a clean man cannot touch an unclean man. Not supposed to touch. And Jesus was a clean man. He was a Jew, a clean, pure Jew. And what did he do? And Jesus let that unclean man come to him. And then what was his reaction? Jesus did not react with fear. What was his reaction? And this man knelt at his feet and challenged Jesus. Master, if you wish, you can heal me. I know that you have it. And at times, my dear friends in Jesus, we also do the same thing. And when we meet certain people, when you want to ask politely for certain things, and what do? We know that you have it. You can do it. If you wish, you can do it. We know that you can do it. And Jesus was challenged by his prayer. And Jesus was not supposed to heal him. He was not planning to heal him. This man came running to Jesus, and he broke the law. And Jesus, on the other hand, he also broke the law. And if a clean man touched an unclean man, that man will be unclean. And that man, Jesus took the risk of being unclean, and he touched the leper. And my dear friends in Jesus, for you and me, for me today, it might look very simple. It is a simple healing, but at that society, it was a radical step. Which Jesus took was a radical step, touching an untouchable man, touching an impure man. He touched the leper, and he broke the law, and another disobedient Jew. Jesus touched the leper with compassion. And what happens here is, you see, it's a miracle. Compassion and sorrow meets here, and a miracle happens. What happened? What happens is, your dear friends in Jesus, it is a reversal. When an unclean man touches a clean man will be, according to the Jewish law, clean man will be unclean. But here, a clean man touches an unclean man becomes clean. That is the divine touch of Jesus. Divine touch of Jesus. And that divine touch is very powerful. And it overshadows our uncleanliness, as dear friends in Jesus. We are unclean human beings. All of us. We are fellow sinners. All of us are unclean. All of us, within us, there is something impure. What we need to do is, we know that God will always show us his compassion. And Jesus took that risk of being ostracized by the society by touching that man. And dear friends in Jesus, how about our prayer? Look at the humility of that leper. Humility. And he knelt at the feet of Jesus, and he challenged the power of Jesus, because he was 100% certain that Jesus had that power to heal him. 100% certain. Are you 100% certain that Jesus has power to make us clean? Are you 100% certain? Can we challenge Jesus with our faith? And that is the faith that we should have, dear friends in Jesus. A faith that could challenge Jesus. So that Jesus will show us his compassion and have mercy on us, and then perform a miracle. Jesus does not, and quite often we make that mistake, dear friends in Jesus. Jesus does not perform miracles to show off. He does not perform miracles to show off. And he performs miracles for the sake of the person who is being healed or who receives that miracle. And that is why he was instructing the leper, okay, now you are healed, go out, but don't tell anybody. I healed it for your sake, for your faith. For you had that great faith, and you had that courage, and you were brave enough to break the law, because you knew that what is most important is relationships. Relationships are very important than the laws. That is why this man was sad, and that is why this man was asking Jesus, Jesus made me clean. According to the Jewish law, an unclean man cannot enter the temple, cannot have relationship with family, with friends, and he was suffering from that isolation and loss from the loved ones. And that he wanted to go back home. He wanted to do his normal activities, and he wanted to do all sorts of things that we do in our lives. He was deprived of his day-to-day activities. So, dear friends in Jesus, let's ask the Lord to give us that faith in him, so that we may understand that Jesus has the power to heal. He has the power to perform miracles in our lives. And if you really pray with the leper, Lord, if you wish, you can make me clean, and he'll definitely respond to us saying, I do will be clean. I do will be clean. Amen.